Good morning, friends. Let me congratulate each one of you for now being a proud diploma holder of a very illustrious institution, recognized globally, acknowledged for their capabilities all throughout the professional world, and therefore you must be rightfully very proud to be holding this diploma in your hand. This is a very unique organization which is run by very professional, successful academicians who have been running their own institutions, and they try to pull their combined knowledge together to offer their rich experience to create new human capital, trained human resource, to impart better knowledge, better capabilities to others. And therefore, this is not just a diploma, but this is something which is, in my opinion, an accumulation of a lot of talent, wisdom, experience, which is being provided to you in a form of a little piece of paper. But I know this is only a manifestation of what you have gone through. You must have been extensively trained, and also now you'll be ready to be a much better manager than what you were before you joined this organization. So congratulations once again, and now we look forward to you contributing in your own way what the management has contributed in their own way to make you be a diploma holder. I think this is a very interesting idea, that each one teach one. This is something like this. So we really try to ensure that every teacher has an obligation, because he has acquired some knowledge, to ensure that he imparts a knowledge far better than what he has. And that's what, over a period of time, we call as a Guru Shishya Parampara, which I am sure will be carried out by you too in the years to come. One of the big challenges we are facing in India is that we are now almost the most populous country in the world, though not yet officially declared, because we are already 1.3 billion people. China may be a little bit marginally ahead, but China will be surpassing China in the next few years. So now we have a different challenge, that quantitatively we are one of the largest pool of human capital. But as we know, as we call in economics, that mere desire doesn't constitute a demand. It has to be backed by a purchasing power. So mere quantity does not create a capital. It has to be properly trained. Even if you train and you are the best of knowledge, best of experience in a particular field, but if it cannot be applied to a given situation, that knowledge has no meaning. So this is something which is a unique challenge for us now, is how do you convert a large quantity of human beings into qualitative human capital, which can be applied to today's situation, which can be ready to face challenges of tomorrow. And this challenge can be met only through one process, and that's training. There is nothing more important than training. Even if you qualify from the best of the institution in the world, and then you don't update your knowledge, after 10 years, 15 years, it's going to be obsolete. In fact, the technological changes are so fast that what you learn today may not be applicable tomorrow. I remember a cartoon which was there in Le Monde, one of the best newspaper in France, that one girl who has bought the latest of the dress from the best of the boutique shop, and she's running very fast. So her friend asked her, why are you running so fast? She said, I want to wear it before the fashion changes. And therefore, this is something which is going to happen now, that we must ensure that we are not only trained, but we are constantly updated with the knowledge that we acquired. And that's why this is going to be a very important issue. Sometimes people feel I know very well. So I'm a chartered accountant. So I passed many years ago. So if I keep telling a chartered accountant, don't tell me anything, I know much better than you. He said, you don't know anything, that's why you're saying like this. Because the knowledge has changed so much that what I learned last year, you don't know. And maybe the same will be true when his other friend passes after 5 years, that person can say the same thing to him. So therefore, this is a very important issue, that upgrading knowledge, creating institution important. Then second part is application of knowledge. And that's important. I know this famous story, you must have heard it many times before. A very most learned man was traveling in a boat, and he's telling a boatman that what have you learned? Where did you go to school? He said, sorry, I couldn't go to school. He said, what do you know about mathematics? He said, no, I don't know math. I have not gone to school. How will I know mathematics? What about physics? He said, what? I have not even heard the name. What is physics? Then end of the day, he keeps asking about various subjects, and end of the day he says, I feel very sorry for you. You have wasted your life. You have not learned anything. Then suddenly the storm comes and the boatman asks him, do you know swimming? He said, no. He said, then all your knowledge is of no use because you are going to die. At least I can survive because I know how to swim. So what is important is not to just have the knowledge, its application in a given situation, at a given point of time. That is very important. Even if you are a nuclear scientist and you don't know how to drive a car and then you are stuck in a place where there is nothing else that can save you, then you are as bad as anybody else. So therefore, only knowledge is not important. As I said, constant knowledge first, you must acquire. Constantly update, that's very important. But also that knowledge must be used in an application manner at a particular given situation. So to understand what I know, important. Update it, far more important. But also to understand the environment in which I am operating, that is even more important. And therefore, relating my own capabilities to the environmental needs of a given time is far, far more important. And that is what we should try to do in India. Because suppose even if we train engineers, and after some time we'll see that engineers are very good, but they cannot do engineering. So what is the use of that? So what is ultimately is that constantly updating is going to be a very important thing. I keep repeating this, but I'll repeat it again, that a Cisco CEO was here recently, and he said, in the next 10 years, 85% of the companies that you see today may disappear if they don't use the digital platform. Just imagine the magnitude of change that is going to hit at us. So not knowing what the change is far more disastrous. So if you study well, very well, all the time in the classroom, and don't know anything outside, you are out. So therefore, relating it to outside world is again extremely important. So I think you being now trained will keep this in mind, that you must learn, and learn. Also, sometimes very important, unlearn. Unlearning is more important than learning. Because otherwise this is a problem. That I know everything. This is the typical reaction of a person. If you start telling him something, I know that about it, no problem. I know. So everything he knows. So then the other person is going to say, now let me test. Like this, the same situation that happened to the boat will happen to this man. So unlearning is more important so that you can learn something more. And that is why we must keep our eyes open, ears open, mind open, and try to embrace the new changes and try to do it. I was just therefore deliberately asking some of the recipients of prizes that where you work. So one young girl said, one of the first who received, that you used to work for NTPC and now you have joined REC. So I'm happy that both are from my family because I was to be Minister of Power, so we both. But I've seen something in this, and this is an organization which is, Kohli Sahab hai idhar na? Kohli Sahab, but ha hai. So that's what I was saying that day, that this is a scope complex. This is Standing Committee of Public Enterprises. That's how the scope is called. So scope has unlimited scope. Scope is not limited. But scope is public sector. And I always believe that if you want to bring change, you cannot think about an ideal situation. That you say, I can do wonders, provided I can hire each and every person in this organization. I will sack everybody and get people organized. That is never going to happen. So then what we'll do? You'll keep blaming that, if I had given this opportunity to hire people, I would have done wonder. But that you're never going to get opportunity. So you should rather not be a manager of that organization. So you must find out how do you turn around an organization with the existing structures. You can change the structures a bit. but with the existing people. And that is more important. If you can not change the organization with the existing people, there is no point saying that I could have done wonders. And that's why I'm giving example of public sector, because there you cannot change anybody. In government, removing a person is impossible. Even peon you cannot remove. In fact, removing peon is far more important than removing a CMD. But, so therefore, if you cannot change the existing workforce, how do you change them? The only way you can change them is to motivate them. Only way you can motivate them is by setting examples. I remember this year, last year when I became the railway minister, people are saying it is impossible to do anything here. Railway is the most difficult bureaucracy. So I could also go out and give lectures how difficult railway bureaucracy is. What will benefit to anybody? No benefit. So rather than going and condemning my railways, I should rather motivate them to change. If I keep condemning them, nothing will happen. The same railway organization, I must motivate them, because I know it is not true that railwaymen are not good. They are very good. They have capabilities. They are competent people. So what is needed is a motivation. So if you don't motivate them, nothing will happen. And what is the result of motivation? The same organization which people are saying are not able to do anything, we have spent more than double of capital expenditure any time done by the railways. More than double. And everybody was saying it is impossible to spend in railways. Capital expenditure. This is not revenue expenditure. That too, there is to be more than 2 years for a project to be tendered from it was announced. So first of all, in the railway it was a peculiar thing that after your announcement, nothing had to be done. Because then the next minister announced something else. Yes. So previous minister announced, so that project is over, because the announcement is over, project is finished, done. Sometimes you can take another step. So that also must be complimented, that you will lay a foundation stone. Then after some time, if you go and find out where this foundation stone is, it will be difficult to find. So you lay down another one, if at all you want to do it. But that is how the railway projects were implemented. But we changed it. We said, first of all, announcements have to be followed up. So 139 of my last year's announcement we have implemented. And not implemented and not kept in my cupboard locked. I told the parliament, when I presented my budget, along with my budget speech, first time in railways history, we have given action taken report of all the points that we have done. But more importantly, therefore, was first the project, when it was announced to tendering, will take more than 2 years. We reduced the time to 6 months by changing system procedures, but also motivating people by delegating it to them. All my powers of tendering, and we thought that this was the most important power to be exercised by a minister, has been given away to general managers and DRMs. All powers. I have not seen 1 rupee tender as a minister. So sometimes people think, then what is the use of being a minister? Because that was the important thing. But I have given away all my powers, motivated people, given them responsibility, and now also bringing accountability. That's the second part, but I will come to it later. But importantly, motivation, organization is important. Otherwise, what is the use of talking about India, great country, but I could have done much better if I could sack all these people. Why should we sack? Use the same people. And that is what I am doing. Same group of people, not a single person has been changed, but they have been able to deliver far better. We have commissioned 2,900 kilometers of broad gauge conversion, which has been highest ever, probably 40-50% more than any time previously. How is it happening? Same people. And therefore I believe that using the organization as it is, motivating them, giving them clear objective directions, empowering them is far more important. But with empowerment must come responsibility. Otherwise we'll say, I empowered you, now you can do anything that you want. It is not possible. Corporate goals have to be achieved by everybody in a given framework. So we are introduced a concept of key result area for each of the peoples. So that when you deliver, are you deviating from norms? Are you doing enough that was expected of you? All of that we are doing. Also signing the MOU with each and every zone and division. So that is what we are trying to do. Why I am saying this is, organization will not change unless they are motivated. Motivation will not come unless you set example for yourself. If I was going to do something wrong and I don't have the moral authority to tell my officers will never do it. If I drink every day and tell my son, call him and tell him, see how bad it is drinking. Just wait, I will tell him, before I tell you something else, let me take another drink, wait. My son will listen to me or will say, what are you talking about? So therefore, if I want to motivate an organization, I must set an example myself. then only you will find that organization realizes that we can do it. So organization must have moral values. Otherwise it will not work. We are trying to, there are so many things which I know should be better in railways, which we are trying to do, but must set the complete value system, and that value system will drive the organization. Organization cannot be run by technology alone. Technology is important, far more important, but value system is probably, in my opinion, the most important thing. And that is why you should set it up. And you cannot set a value system by putting it on a wall, that this is my value system. I will not follow it now because it is already on the wall. So if somebody wants to read, can read it. I will not follow it. It is never going to work. So you must try to do it. So all of this will make an organization great. Why I am telling you this is that some of you are already working in the organization. I am sure over a period of time you will rise to the top of the organization. Must set an example by your own behavior so that others will follow you. If Dhoni is not going to score anything, he is going to be abusing all the players anytime, they will say, this boy, I will not do anything. So what is important is that you must lead it from the front. You must try to do something which others can follow, others can emulate. But you must also set value system. That is far more important. And in my opinion, if you can do all this, I have to go tonight, not tonight, in the evening actually. Before that I have to do quite a lot of work in the office. Probably people think that minister don't have to do anything. But I work maybe sometimes 20 hours, even sometimes even more. So I have to go and work. Today is Sunday, as you know. Still I have to work. So I have to go to the office. And therefore, I would have spoken to you even for a longer period. But I'm sure you have enough capabilities, knowledge, experience now, as well as armed with a diploma, so which you can use it as a shield. So I'm sure you will try to use this to make your organization better. Each organization in India becoming better, India is becoming better. So we don't have to go and change India without changing the organization. Each one of us realize what they are doing, they must do that only. My father had told me that if somebody tells you to clean, when I was in school, he told me, if your teacher tells you to go and clean the floor, you do it well. That's a great job you are doing, rather than going and studying and excelling in the school. So whatever we are doing, if you do a job better, and each one of us do our own job better, India is a great country. So I think that's what we should try to do, and we must work on that. Congratulations to each one of you. I thank all the ISTD management for inviting me without being qualified to talk to you. But I'm sure very happily that we can work together and try to do it. In fact, I was just remembering, being a chartered accountant, I always think about assets and liabilities. So obviously, asset is sitting down and liability is here, so in my family also. But more importantly, I always think asset and liabilities can be seen. But what is the most important asset in the organization's balance sheet? That is never seen, and that's a human resource. That you cannot see in the balance sheet, but that's the most important resource which drives the organization. So I think the invisible asset is far more valuable than the real asset. And that's true. Even those of you who have studied accountancy, the goodwill is always invisible. But goodwill is sometimes more precious asset in the balance sheet of the organization. So all the best to you. Thank you very much.